Bjorkman to get the first set underway. That's a terrific start. Doesn't get much better than that. Thomas, born in Canton, Ohio, still lives there. 6'4", 200 pounds, so cuts a formidable figure on the court. Very, very difficult to pass at the net. McEnroe just 5'11", Bjorkman an inch taller. Both will be looking to use their speed and agility about the court. Bjorkman's forehand volley can be susceptible at times. McEnroe, of course, we know, has an exceptionally good overhead, and then nice combination. Whilst McEnroe was back playing the smash, Bjorkman looking for the interception on the very next shot. So important in doubles to make the first serve and the first volley, and then let the opponents work hard in order to try and win the point. If they cannot come up with something exceptional, then so be it. Just caught the edge of the line. Giving it a close look, but not going to get any change out of the umpire at this stage. It's a good move by Thomas, even though he wasn't able to intercept the volley. He did enough to put Bjorkman off. So the new rules dictate that once the scores reach deuce, there will just be 1 point to decide matters. The receivers do have choice of sides. And of course, they've tried to enhance the viewing pleasure of the fans by making the doubles just a little quicker. They just play 2 sets, as I mentioned earlier, then a champion's tiebreak to decide matters. And of course this 1 point juice means that you don't get these long service games that tend to go on and on. Bjorkman and McEnroe lead 1 game to love. Goldstein has enjoyed success on the doubles tour. 2 finals in Brighton and here 3 years ago. And both Thomas and Goldstein went to Stanford. Both had pretty good collegiate careers. Thomas won the NCAA team championships in 95-96, and Goldstein reached the NCAA singles final in 98, losing to his teammate Bob Bryan. Bjorkman, of course, in singles was ranked as high as number 4 in the world at one stage back in 97. McEnroe, of course, number 1 in the world in singles 26 years ago. Amazing. Good hands by Goldstein at the net. And always nice to hold your opening service game. Not sure who looks the older of the two, McEnroe or Thomas. McEnroe's hair may be grey, but it's almost all there. Thomas, of course, struggling in that department, although he's only 31 years of age. What McEnroe lacks in pace, he tries to make up for with variation.
I didn't hear the machine beep.
100% that the machine beeped.
Okay, then I missed it. But it's close to me.
But you miss it when you have it right there.
I know, I don't know.
I mean, I can see that sometimes it doesn't. If it just hit and the machine doesn't go on.
Right.
But this one went off.
I didn't hear it go off.
You can't check to see if it went off that serve?
If you want technically go on, if you want to catch the net, I can see it.
On that serve? No, the serve was just hit. Yeah. You need to check to see if that went off.
Bjorkman's adamant that there's a let. They do have a machine, a sensor, which helps the umpire decide whether the ball does clip the top of the net as it passes it. Bjorkman was adamant there that it went off, but Norm Chris missed it if it did. That's why it's so important to make the first serve and the first volley. It is difficult in doubles to find any openings in the court. Been serving well all week. It's a formidable record, especially with the 1-point juice scoring system. That's quick hands from both McEnroe and Thomas.
30.
John's father didn't recognize him initially without the floppy hat he used to wear. Regular visits to the All England Club.
Do you think the machine went off that time too?
Good doubles all round. Goldstein was looking for the interception, had his nose over the net. McEnroe did well to get that first volley by him. Good court coverage by Bjorkman. And perfect shot selection from the maestro. Game to win. Both Bjorkman and McEnroe now have managed to hold serve. Brilliant hands. Bjorkman will have known that the volley was coming at him, so he'll have been ready once he saw the height of the return. And of course he's had years and years of perfecting his reactions. You're loving the wrong guy. And one of the opposing players is 6'4", and the other one's 5'10", and you go over the taller of the two. It's a lesson, I guess, Bjorkman will learn very quickly. And McEnroe does it, but it was more by luck than judgment. Serve into his body was taken a little late. But it matters not, because it's given the veterans a break point. Really good second serve, got an awful lot of work on that ball. Enough topspin to get it up off the court. McEnroe, of course, with traditional grips, especially on that forehand. He's more around to the continental than the western or the semi-western, so he finds it hard to come over the ball when it bounces that high. It's still a break point, because this is the deciding point. To return. A very nervous volley. McEnroe sensibly making the opposition play. Thomas will be bitterly disappointed with his inability there. Stone hands give Bjorkman and McEnroe the initial break of serve. They lead 3-1. Terrific combination. Bjorkman sensibly taking the lob, the younger of the two by quite some distance. Exceptionally well to get that ball back in play, and then McEnroe took over. Some aggressive ground strokes. Thomas again found wanting the net. McEnroe in his prime would have struggled to get that ball back in play. It was a good tactic to hit the ball straight at the opposition in doubles, especially when you're close to the net. Quality of the serve meant that it was very, very difficult to play anything other than a very defensive return. It's a lovely backhand volley. Not only was he able to create an angle with it, but he was able to generate enough pace to get the job done as well, which is easier said than done with the toughest shot in the book there. No problem so far for McEnroe and Bjorkman. Much depended on their opening match, and they did gel together well. This is the first time that they've played with each other, so you never really know, even though individually they're both outstanding doubles players in their own right. Doesn't necessarily mean that they'll make an excellent doubles pair. And they've played well throughout the week. 1-4. Looks a little mechanical, that serve. In stark contrast to the way that McEnroe plays the game. Hands from Bjorkman at the net. It's not easy to get the lob volley over the heads of the opposition, especially when one of them is 6'4" tall, but the Swede successful on that occasion. McEnroe finishing the point off nicely. That's why they combine well. found their range on the return yet. Missing many more than they made. A little wayward too. Must be quite daunting for these two coming up against McEnroe. And of course, that's the advantage that McEnroe has. The greatest players ever to grace the courts. Steps onto one with considerable baggage, but also very much in the knowledge that many of the players that he comes up against that are at this age will have grown up watching him play. He was at his very best and will have wanted to emulate all that he's achieved in the game. Lovely combination. Wasn't sure what Goldstein was doing there initially by staying at the back when his partner was moving into the net, but all worked out well in the end. Dare I say it, but McEnroe just looked slightly slow there, coming in behind the serve. Good angle on the return, but should have been able to get there to cover it. Goldstein was in a perfect position. Lovely combination. Sensible return, and McEnroe unable to do enough with that first volley. Put it straight onto his opponent's racket. Facing 4 break points. It's wide. McEnroe is broken for the first time this week to love, and we're back on serve. McEnroe and Bjorkman still lead though, 4 games to 3. The final 6-4, 6-2 to delight the vast majority of the fans over there in Marseille. On serve in the opening set, Goldstein, 3-4. Sometimes it's difficult for the incoming volleyer, having just served, to pick the ball up when they think their partner is going to make the interception, and at the very last minute they realise that they haven't been able to make the distance and they've got to take care of the first volley. It can be very off-putting. Well, this opening set nicely poised. Not much to choose between these two teams. Martina Navratilova, of course, says that she's going to try and play a full schedule this year. Of course, she plays just doubles and the occasional singles match on grass. That's all the body can handle. It's a very simple game. If you can do the basics well, it'll be tough to beat. That means getting a high percentage of first serves in, making most of the first volleys, and then waiting for the opposition to do something a little special to win the point. And more often than not, that won't happen. It's a very sensible smash, timed perfectly and aimed right up the center of the court, which is often in Buenos Aires. Serving to stay in the opening set. 4-5. Just not quite quick enough to pick up those reflex volleys. Again, exceptionally good volley, going back up the middle of the court, causing confusion in the McEnroe Bjorkman camp. No, not quite timing the volley, but job done nevertheless. Terrific hands from Thomas. McEnroe will be disappointed with his inability to make that shot, which he will class as relatively simple. Great return initially, and he knows he should have done more. Comprehensive service game. I think both Goldstein and Thomas were a little nervous at the beginning of the match. That contributed to them losing serve early on, but now they've started to play a little better. Brilliant pickup. Great return of serve. Stroke of genius from McEnroe. Make that pickup. The ball did skid off the line, which made life a little more difficult for Goldstein. That'll do it. It was nice at the ripe old age of 47. To be able to pull out the occasional ace. Quite a record here in doubles. Won the title 7 times. 6 of those with Peter Fleming and once with Australian Mark Woodford. Let's brought the crowd to their feet. Terrific tennis from Bjorkman. Did exceptionally well here. Little hot dog action. Lovely lob. Full use of the wrist. And again, Thomas was found wanting on the low volley. Good money. Come through the turnstiles. Tennis now, rather than being a standalone sport, very much of the entertainment industry. Shame. Big point. McEnroe needed to make the return, put a little extra pressure in the opposition. Much more like it. Bjorkman also was in an excellent position there. And a lot of pressure from Goldstein. Perfect move at the right time. Lovely combination. Bjorkman making a simple return up the middle of the course, and McEnroe gliding to his right. He's earned his team a set point. It's a brilliant response. Goldstein doesn't have the biggest serve in the world, but it's hit as accurately as that. There's not much McEnroe can do about it. Shame. Good set points. Kind of begging. Didn't really do enough with the return. Bjorkman will feel disappointed he wasn't able to get that ball back in play. So a tiebreak will decide matters here. Level. Good return of serve, not really enough on the delivery. Straight into the heading zone, exactly where McEnroe wanted it. Made it. Not sure initially what Bjorkman was trying to achieve with the little volley. Good reactions from McEnroe. I think the ball was just so close to the top of the net. Bjorkman do much more than that, but just a reflex action more than anything else from McEnroe. Got the job done in the end. Standing firm. should have made, really. He knows it. Still got the upper hand in this tiebreak. Again, the shot down the middle, paying dividends. So difficult for the opposition to decide who's going to take the ball, and doesn't give them any angle to play with. Much more difficult to put the ball away, especially when the ground stroke is hit as well as the last one was by Bjorkman. What a point. Fantastic pickup. Couldn't really have hit a better return. Bjorkman anticipated the fact that the opposition were going to try and intercept his volley, so the little bunt up the line was perfectly timed. Set point. That'll do it. Bjorkman just coming out on top after a hard-fought opening set. 70th ATP doubles title, and Bjorkman's 44th. And you have to say, given the fact that they've pocketed that opening set, that they are the firm favourites. But given the scoring system, these things can change very quickly. It's just a two-set match virtually. If Goldstein and Thomas were to win this set, a champion's tiebreak would decide matters, and we all know that at best anything can happen in tiebreaks. So still a lot to play for. They need to maintain their concentration. Length on the first volley. Job well done. The opening service game. Got to try and put the loss of that opening set behind them. Concentrate very much on holding their own serve. That's all you can really do in doubles. Take care of your own deal. And if you do get opportunities to break, obviously try and make the most of them. But if not, the worst thing that can happen is you find yourself in another tie break. So that's very much the mentality of the good doubles pairs. Smash won the point, but it was the lob that set it up so beautifully for Thomas. Not sure whether McEnroe thought that the ball was out. Change out of the lines person, or the umpire. That's what most of the fans have come to see, so there's not one to usually disappoint.
Make sure you give us those calls too, okay?
Brilliant second serves, and look at the skies on it. When he was playing at his best, it was almost impossible for his opponents to get any kind of lead on the serve. Such was his variation. Bjorkman's looked sharp all week. These two really do combine very nicely together. A big service game. One game apiece. Pretty entertaining first hour. The majority of the fans, I think, pleased with what they've seen so far. quality of the return needs to be very good in order to have a chance to stay in the rally with Thomas all over the net like a rash. Brilliantly done, but it was Bjorkman who deserves a lot of the credit for keeping his team in the rally. Terrific hands. So quick to get the ball back in play when the ball comes directly at him, and McEnroe instinctively knows where to play the volley to find the open course. Much McEnroe and Bjorkman could do there in their search for the elusive break of serve. Delighted that they had an opportunity to see him compete once more. He's supported this tournament throughout his career. An outstanding record here. Won it 5 times in terms of the singles and 7 times in the doubles. Such a shame. A great return, and Thomas again was all over the net. The only place really Bjorkman could have afforded to put the ball was exactly where he did. Didn't mistime it. It was meant to go there. No change of formation for McEnroe and Bjorkman as they attempt to get that break of serve. Sometimes it's good to just mix things up a little bit, give the server something different to think about. This is where Bjorkman and McEnroe will feel that they've got an opportunity. So important to get an early lead in the game. Makes the world of difference. That's the shot he should have made. Though, when opposition get a high percentage of first serves in to make an effective return, so it's all about trying to make the most of the looks you get at the second serve. Interception by Goldstein, moving forward before he made contact with the ball. Getting a little frustrated. Had a half chance there early on in the game. Goldstein and Thomas managing to hold serve. Like McEnroe take part in the event this week. Serving to get back on level terms. 2-3. Lovely combination. Did enough with the first volley to elicit the weak reply. It's a great return. McEnroe not quite quick enough into the net there. Got caught on around the service line. Oh, such a shame. One of the best rallies of the match. Lovely hands from McEnroe. Both Thomas and Goldstein played their part in setting the point up nicely. Bjorkman had very little to do. And that backhand missed by a whisker. Lovely smash. Deep lob. Only way McEnroe was able to hit a winning shot from that position was to create an angle. Subtle use of the wrist. Contact with the ball. But of course, that's his great strength. It's the quality of the serve and the first volley that's making life not too difficult for those attempting to return. Trying everything, power, lobs, dinks, angles, none of it working so far. And it has to be said that Goldstein and Thomas look to be slightly on top in this second set, though nothing really matters until one of the teams manages to get a break of serve. Leighton Hewitt today in the final, 7-6 in the third. No breaks of serve as yet in this second set. Bjorkman at 3-4. Good hands again from the Swede. Without a doubt, the hardest hit return that got in the court in the match so far. Goldstein got a look at it. It was right up the middle of the court, has to be said. And he was able to use the pace of the oncoming delivery to good effect and then add a little bit of his own. Again, it was the quality of the return that set the point up nicely. The American pair. Tennis. Bjorkman's been sharp as attack all night.
4 games all.
Always a good tactic to go straight at the opposition whenever you get the chance to do so, especially when you're very close to the net. Gives them very little time to react. Missed it. Well left. Telling return from McEnroe. Good anticipation. Takes a lot of courage to make the cross when you're under pressure. Your partner's down to his second serve, but that's exactly the time when you want to try and help them out. Believe that he can miss such a simple shot. It used to happen in the good old days. Did it? Bjorkman does prefer the backhand return, so some sensible serving there, getting it to his slightly weaker ground stroke. Serve. Makes up for what he lacks in pace with excellent variation, point accuracy. length on the second. Not the strongest part of Thomas's repertoire, ground strokes. As long as he keeps holding serve, he'll be keeping up his end of the bargain as far as his team's concerned. Brilliant hands from Bjorkman. Thomas did well there just to maintain his composure. This shot here, absolutely remarkable. And then to pull off that little backhand volley was quite extraordinary. But it did open up the court for Goldstein and Thomas. That's the big point. If Goldstein and Thomas can win it, they'll have set point. Long. Goldstein and Thomas choosing to return to the ad court, which is undoubtedly McEnroe's favourite side, but Goldstein will fancy his backhand return a little more than his forehand, so it's an interesting contest. Set point then for Goldstein and Thomas. He's made it. It was a terrific first volley by McEnroe. Did well to stay in the point as long as he did, but I thought Goldstein would fancy a couple of heavy ground strokes match. Next couple of points going to be very, very important. It's such an advantage if you can build up a little bit of momentum. This stage in the match, champions tiebreak to decide the title. Wide. Interesting when looking at the two teams' records throughout the week. Goldstein and Thomas have been taking the distance in all of their matches and come through. McEnroe and Bjorkman played just the one champions tiebreak. That was in the semi-finals yesterday, where they won 10-8. It was tight, but I think from our vantage point it looked just wide. First to 10 points, as long as you win by 2. serving. That's what the partnership needed, just to settle the nerves back into the old routine. And there it is. That's what they've been looking for. An effective return and then some good movement at the net from Bjorkman. Must-win point really for Goldstein and Thomas here. Oh yes, what a return. Bjorkman prefers his backhand on the back of the court, but a bit of sweeter forehand than that. Throughout the course of his career, it was an excellent serve into the body. Can't complain about the delivery, but it was a moment of magic from the Swede. Hey, McEnroe at his very best. The last 2 points have been vintage from both competitors. Dad's on his feet, and he's seen it all. It takes a lot to impress that gentleman. But this was something special. That's what the fans have come to see. Nothing Thomas and Goldstein could do about that. McEnroe and Bjorkman now, without a doubt, hold the upper hand. Only halfway there, remember. First 10 points. Good response. Goldstein in a perfect position there to make the interception. Confident that his partner would make a good return. Got his nose right over the net. Almost impossible for him to miss that volley. He might just have kept his team in the match, because 2-5 sounds a lot, but 2 serves to come bring them to within a point of the opposition. Maintained his concentration well. really big serves. And Goldstein and Thomas are indeed right back in this tiebreak.
That's funny, isn't it?
Still a mini break to the good. 5-4. Great anticipation from Bjorkman. That's what it was all about. A little pick-up, excellent return of serve from Goldstein, but it was Bjorkman's movement after the half-volley pick-up here. He correctly anticipated the fact that that's where Goldstein was going to try and put the ball up the middle of the court. He's done so throughout the match. And Thomas was left stranded. Change of tactics. Good to give McEnroe and Bjorkman something different to think about. And McEnroe hasn't really returned well throughout the match. Served okay, even though he's had his serve broken once in each set. And that hadn't happened before today's match this week. Volleys have been pretty good. The reactions have been there when he's needed them most. But the return of serve let him down on occasion. An awful lot of work for Goldstein and Thomas to do. Bjorkman and McEnroe just 3 points away from victory. Deep. Pressure really was just a little too much, I think, in the end. McEnroe 2 points away with 2 serves to come. And it would be nice, wouldn't it? A fairy tale ending, really, if McEnroe could finish things off. Good first volley, and his hands have been exceptionally quick today. But just swinging a little too much on that forehand volley. Anxious perhaps to put the ball away, knowing that had it gone in it would have given them championship point. As it stands, Goldstein and Thomas still in the match. Just enough on the serve. He's attempting to run around, use the forehand, got a little close to the ball. Nervous moments. Put that in the stand. And Bjorkman have championship point. Bjorkman did well, really, get out of the way of the smash. Delight for McEnroe and Bjorkman, and for Dad. A very entertaining match, a terrific week really, as far as all the tournament's concerned, given that the wildcard pairing of Jonas Bjorkman and John McEnroe have been victorious. A 70th doubles title for the American and a 44th for the Swede. Terrific stuff. A little piece of history in the making.